and financial service needs.
Soldier Field, Chicago. Some people will go to any lengths to get on television, even float a balloon up there that says CBS on it.
There's a reason for that, and I'll explain it to you later.
You're looking at Soldier Field, a sellout crowd where the Chicago Bears lead 17-0 at halftime. And right at the conclusion of the half, Mike Ditka, the Bears coach, received his Hall of Fame ring from Pete Elliott. He was inducted earlier this year, and in his comments said he hoped that more tight ends would be recognized and inducted into the Hall of Fame in future years. He was the first tight end ever to make it into the Hall.
And I'm kind of looking forward to another tight end, John Mackey, making it to the Hall as well. And I know Mike got the honor, and he richly deserves it. Congratulations to him for it. Hey, you know what those balloons were for is Leslie Frazier, one of the former Chicago Bears that got hurt in the Super Bowl. He's got a charity here that he's working with, and all the Bears are working with him on the thing, and they call it Great Expectations. And part of that is they had a big balloon release today, and they allowed all these balloons to float out of the stadium. And now one part of that was that all the players came along with their young people, with their young children, and took pictures for a calendar. And that's part of it. And then you see the balloons, and they said hello to us and hello to you. Good luck with it, Leslie. He is now coaching, by the way, at one of the local colleges here in the area.
Well, the Bears will have the opportunity here to play some more defense, something they've done well in the first half. They will kick it off. And the deep man, Mark Higgs, along with Cornell Burbage. Rookie Higgs drops the ball at the 7-yard line. Now picks his way through traffic out to the 27. And a host of Bears waiting for him there, led by Glenn Kozlowski, and Danny White brings out the Dallas offense. Steve Pallor injured early in the first quarter on a running attempt and received a concussion. He appeared to be all right on the bench. Does not anything to be, I don't think, overly worried about. There he is, still in uniform, but they're taking the precaution, and he has not returned. White has gone since then. Hit by Singletary, but picked up 5.
Tim, again, you know, we talked about Herschel Walker earlier in the first quarter. We talked about the kind of commitment he brings to football and to life in general. And he said, you know, he's not the kind of guy that football dominates his life, but yet still he's the kind of guy that can look at the broad picture, yet still concentrate and zero in on what he's got to do to be successful and to be the best football player he can be.
He's got great concentration, and it's exemplified in his effort on every play and in the numbers he's been rolling up. Surprising Green Bay lead over Minnesota. The Vikings struggling a bit the last couple of weeks. Green Bay coming out for a big run in New England. Complete to Walker just as White released the ball. He took a good shot from Dent. But he got the pass off to Walker, who was just short of the first down by about a half yard.
What they did was they flexed Herschel out. He was out on the outside the tackle. They just brought him down the field about 5 yards and cut straight across on the yard marker underneath of the linebackers, and that's how Danny was able to complete the pass.
Bears lift David Tate, bring in an extra linebacker, Troy Johnson, number 92, on this 3rd and short.
That's a semblance of their 5-man defensive line.
White rolling for Walker, complete for a first down to the 39 of Chicago. They got him isolated on Singletary, and White delivered a perfect pass.
So we had mentioned earlier that what the Cowboys had to do to get back in this football game was get the ball to into Herschel Walker's hands. And here, Danny White rolls out to the right. He finds Herschel one-on-one with Singletary, and that's a tough job to cover a guy with world-class speed down the field, one-on-one, and particularly if you're a linebacker.
The Cowboys have rookie Dave Waddell from Boston College, their number 4 pick this year, at left tackle for Mark Tuinei. Tuinei coming off a knee injury, getting a little relief there from the rookie Waddell. Walker can't get wide, and he is dropped for a loss. Steve McMichael having a world-class afternoon for the Chicago Bears.
Boy, he wasn't even block, though, on that play. He beat the block, I should say, right now off the line of scrimmage, because I don't want those Dallas Cowboy offensive linemen say, don't tell me I didn't try to block it. But what happened is Steve just made a nice move right off the line of scrimmage and got into the backfield and made the tackle.
Loss of nearly 2 yards on the play. Second down, 12. White short drop. He's got Kelvin Martin for the first down. And a flag thrown after the play. Might have been a face mask there.
That's exactly it, and it looks like a 5-yarder.
Dusty Jackson, I believe, will get the call. There's the cast on Kelvin Martin's left wrist.
5 yards, face mask, first down.
He caught a pass for a touchdown, landed on the wrist, and didn't even realize he had broken it. Actually played into the second half before it really started to bother him. And just determined to play this week with all the injuries they have to Michael Irvin. Calvin Edwards on the limp. Martin put the cast on. He's playing. Walker. Bears string it out and hold him to about a 2-yard gain. Maurice Douglas and Mike Singletary.
I'll tell you what, Al Harris really strung that play out and allowed Mike Singletary to come up and make the stop. But watch on the outside of your screen on the right side, watch Al Harris, number 90, string this play out. He's working against the tight end Thornton there, against the tackle Gogan. And you see him working the play out to the out of bounds, and now Singletary and Douglas come up and make the stop. But the key is that defensive end runs that play to the sideline and allows the secondary to come back in and break it down for you.
Al Harris, who got that starting job, and William Perry went down with a broken arm, played very well at defensive end. Second down and 9. That is Newsom carrying. That by Dante Jones, but a pickup of 5, maybe 6 yards for Timmy Newsom. Tim Ryan with Dan Jiggets here at Chicago Soldier Field with 11:04 to go, third quarter. Bears on top 17-0. The Dallas drive, led by Danny White at quarterback, has been their most effective of the game so far. The opening series in the second half. Kelvin Martin, Ray Alexander, Everett Gay, 3 wideouts for Dallas on third down and 4. Walker in motion. They want Walker, but White overthrows him. Incomplete.
Things are clipping along for the Cowboys. Then when they get down here in that area, that red area where they want to score from, where they've had a problem scoring from all season long, then they break down, and now it's fourth down for them. But you know what? Before, Steve Pallure was having problems down here getting the ball in the end zone. As a matter of fact, he threw 3 interceptions on the goal line this year, and now Danny White's had difficulty getting in from the red area.
Well, they'll have to settle for the field goal try by Roger Ruzek. They'll spot the ball just outside the 25. A 35-yard attempt. Ruzek is 4 of 9 on field goal tries this year, and he misses that one. So the Cowboys come up empty again. 10:30 to go, third quarter. Tim Ryan with Dan Jiggets here at Soldier Field. The Bears on top 17-0, and the best Dallas drive of the game is stopped, and they miss on the field goal attempt. Now the Bears, meanwhile, have not dazzled anybody in third quarters this year. Look at that stat. But they are on top in this game, and they are 5-1 on the season. On first down, McMahon to Suey, ducks under a tackle from Burton, but Burton slowed him up enough so that there's very little gain on the play. Ed Too Tall Jones buried him. Too Tall Jones, his 199th game of his career over 14 years out of Tennessee State. Talking with Jim Jeffcoat about him, I said, does he preserve himself in practice? He said, boy, does he preserve himself.
Yeah, he said he's like Kareem Jabbar, though. They don't know how old he is. He might be able to play forever. But he keeps himself in great condition, always ready to go. And you've talked about his boxing career a little bit last night.
Yeah, well, he was wise to return to football. At 37, he's still playing at the top of his game. Neil Anderson 6-yard line where Jeffcoat meets him there.
Tim, we talk about the flex defense that Dallas likes to run, and then what you'll see is you see this guy here, he's backed off the football, and this guy is backed off the football, and what that allows him to do is slide along in here and act almost like linebackers when the play happens, and then they can get to the football without necessarily getting blocked, and then you see that flow of those guys in the flex, they get over to make the play. Everybody always wonders, why does Dallas do that flex defense? Well, there you see John Wojciechowski, he's coming out, looks like he might have had the finger in the eye.
I think he did get poked in the eye. Cesar Renti, the rookie from Oklahoma, has replaced him at left tackle. So Wojciechowski was worried about his strained knee, has to leave the game for something totally unrelated. They're looking at his left eye.
Well, you see more and more players wearing that plexiglass across their face mask, and that's the reason why.
I'd like to see all of them wearing those, especially the quarterbacks. Third down. Randall Cunningham is wearing one these days. Gentry escapes momentarily, nearly nailed by Gary Cobb, but finally Ron Francis able to get him. Cobb did a real good defensive read on that. Kind of a little Statue of Liberty type play for Gentry. And the Cowboys defense did very well. Chicago will have to run. What a pickup Gary Cobb has been on waivers from the Eagles. Drafted by Dallas back in '79. They gave up on him. He played for Detroit, played for the Eagles, and coming back here, he's been playing awfully well for them. Wagner's punt. Calvin Martin lets it bounce. Now it rolls for the Bears. To the 35-yard line of Dallas. Good punt for Wagner with 8:06 to go. He hits a 45-yarder. We'll be right back. I got to cover that event the first time we had it on CBS, and it's really very exciting. I recommend it to our viewers.
A little rich for my blood.
World-class polo. I can't afford the horses, but I can afford to play the admission, especially when it's free on CBS. First down, Dallas. Walker running and carrying Bear tacklers with him for about 7 yards. Douglas and Vesty Jackson and Richardson all getting a free ride. And look at that. Green Bay continues to lead Minnesota, Dan.
Well, you know, Tommy Kramer's out of that football game now. I guess it's Gannon that has to be playing for them, or maybe Wade Wilson has come back, but I kind of doubt it. But the result is Minnesota has not been functioning very well for the last couple of weeks, and that's a clear indication of it. And Green Bay's finally finding that stride that they've been looking for.
Well, a great lift from their 45-3 win last week. There's another surprising score. The Redskins beating up on Phoenix. Not so much that Washington would be on top, but the way the Cardinals have been playing defense, 30 points. Wow. Mark Rippon, 4 touchdown passes in that game. Walker, first down and breaking loose on the sideline. Herschel Walker to the 45 of Chicago before David Tate forced them out.
Boy, I tell you what, Tim, nice crisp blocking by Tim Newsome. Now watch him take on Ron Rivera, number 59 for the Bears, right at the top of your screen. Newsome gets that nice crisp block there. Now Herschel's able to turn the corner. Now watch him turn those shoulders upfield, square it up, and when he squares up those shoulders up the field, you are in trouble.
Herschel Walker cranking it up here in this second half. 15 carries now for 60 yards. Dallas driving again. White with lots of time, but has to go to the release man, Newsome. Newsome gets about 5. 3 Bears collide, and they ran into each other there on the effort to stop Timmy Newsome.
The Bears are becoming their own worst enemies out there, and that's Rivera. Ron Rivera that's down on the ground now.
Ron Rivera and Singletary and Hampton. Rivera got caught in the traffic as they all arrived on Newsome at the same time.
You see how the doctor is touching that spot, and you saw Ron jump. They always do that, the doctors, when you're down on the field. They'll grab the spot that sort of says, does that hurt?
That hurt, yes. Well, hopefully it doesn't hurt for too long for Ron Rivera. We'll be back at Soldier Field in a moment.
And this is the play that Ron Rivera got hurt on. Now watch right down here. Timmy Newsome rolls over and hits him directly on the hip. That's Ron laying down there just by that 0 on the field. Now we're back to action.
Walker on second down. Got only a couple. Singletary again. Singletary having a big day. Herschel Walker.
You You see Herschel's number, 16 rushes, 61 yards. Now, he's been effective for the Cowboys and as time goes by, and as a result, you'll see now on this graphic, look down there, when he gets 11 to 15 rushes, his average goes up to 6.6 yards per rush. That means as time goes by, he gets better.
Third down, close to 5 required. Big play for Dallas here. White for Cosby, incomplete. Dante Jones, who had shifted over to the left linebacker spot when Rivera went out, had the coverage on the tight end, Cosby, and White missing his target, 4th down.
And he ought to send that, Dante Jones ought to send a thank you note to Al Harris, because Danny White couldn't even set up in the pocket. He tried to roll out a little bit that way, and number 90, Al Harris, is right in his face. Saxon on the punt.
Saxon back for the punt. Flags down as the Bears came charging in and knocked back the center and everybody else.
How would you like to be the center? Now, this is what they pay you for now. See, that ball hasn't moved. Ooh!
False start. Offense.
Now, see what happened, though. Somebody else either moved or Diassi might have tipped that ball just a little bit, and that draws that defense offside. But if somebody on that offense moved, and as a result, they get the penalty.
Diassi, a 230-pound linebacker, snaps for the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm sure he's not going to be buying the beers for the guy who made the false start.
Yeah, if you start out at 6'2", you end up at 6'1".
Saxon back at his 41 now. McKinnon just standing leisurely in the 15. It'll take a bad punt for him to get to handle it. Saxon lands it at the 2, and it bounces back upfield and will be down inside the 5. Good job by Mike Saxon. Eugene Lockhart prevented that ball from going any farther. And the Bears are going to have to start from inside the 5. Well, doubleheader action ahead. The San Francisco 49ers at the LA Rams, or New Orleans at Seattle. And some of you will see Atlanta at Denver. So big game action ahead in our doubleheader here on CBS this afternoon.
Well, I'll tell you what, that San Francisco Rams game is going to be a real big one for that NFC West division.
How can you get to see both of them? I'd like to see the New Orleans game and the 49er game.
You got to have a dish, or you got to have a tape machine.
Indianapolis beating up on Tampa Bay. Green Bay has lengthened its lead over Minnesota. First down, deep in Bear territory. Matt Suey plowing straight ahead. Little breathing room, picks up about 3 yards.
Tim, now you start thinking back to where Dallas has been in this game so far. They've had a couple opportunities on field goals, and Roger Ruzek has missed them. He was the guy that held out on the team and then came back later on, and still hasn't had a lot of success once he came back into the fold. Now you got to start wondering, if you're Dallas now, you say, hey, look, do we bring Zendejas back in here because we need an effective field goal kicker to keep us in ball games like this? They could have 6 points on the board right now.
Dallas, as you can see, starting to move the ball, but can't punch it into the end zone or over the crossbar. And short drop, can't find a man open. Eludes the tackle of Bates. And when you talk to McMahon about guys he was keeping his eye on, we mentioned Ed Too Tall Jones and his big reach. The other guy was number 40, Bates.
And if Billy had kept his head up, he might have seen a great play. He had his head down and he was flying. He saw Jim give him that little Olay move, and Billy just found a yard strike down there almost in the end zone. Picked up a little grass in the front of his uniform.
Brooks was the man who finally pinned him.
Yeah, Billy Bates is dangerous, though. You know, when you're running back and you're just dangling that ball out there and you're kind of ready to go down, you better look out because number 40 is on the expressway.
Third down. Flags are down. Neil Anderson stepped out of bounds back at the 27, forced out by Bates. But the flag occurred before the end of that play. It was back at the line of scrimmage. talking it over with Jim Tunney. So we have had some summit conferences out here today with
This has been like
the officials.
Iceland here.
Be against Dallas, evidently.
Tim, Jim McMahon had a lot of time and a lot of throwing lanes on that play. And what you try to do is from your offensive linemen as you try to get these guys here to cut all along the line of scrimmage, and that gives the quarterback the opportunity to see out and see that receiver as he's coming around outside. In that case, it was Neil Anderson. Then you see those cut blocks on the front side, gets those defensive linemen down, so you're able to throw the football.
Number 24, decline, is the only play, first down.
Illegal use of the hands against Walls. Danny White and Tom Landry looking ahead to when they get the ball back. They have been moving it in this third period. But Chicago has it. First down. Coming from the shadow of their goal line at the 4. They're now out at the 27. Play action. And for Morris, he's got it. And Walls on the coverage. Morris climbing the ladder for the catch. 19-yard gain.
One of the things that Ron Morris brings to the Bears is he's a crafty receiver, and he makes the catch even when it's a difficult one. Now watch him coming along right down the seam in the zone there. He reaches up, grabs that football. But the thing is, he's got great hands for a wingback, and that's kind of unusual. Both of their wingbacks are good receivers, both he and McKinnon.
Second-year man from SMU, their number 2 pick a year ago. First down, Chicago. Man, Wendell Smith. Wendell Davis, number 82.
And here he is. He's isolated out on the corner there with Robert Williams. He just runs past Robert Williams, looking up for the ball. He's got to do one of those little retreats to come back to it. And he was never touched. This guy could have probably gotten up and still ran. I don't know if sometimes those rookies don't realize that this is not college where, you know, if you're down on the ground, you're out. You can still get up and take off unless you're touched.
That might have been the case, Dad. I think Davis maybe was still thinking back to the college days. He only had 5 catches coming into the game. He's still adapting to being a pro. A 36-yard gain inside the 20. Intended for Thornton, overthrown out of bounds by McMahon.
Now, I'm sure Jim McMahon looked at Jim Thornton and says he looks at those big arms and everything and thinks maybe he's Superman, but Thornton says, hey, I forgot my cape. I can't fly up and get that one, okay?
That one is out of there. It'll be second down.
You know, with all that's said about number 9, Jim McMahon, the thing that he expects out of himself above everyone else is excellence. And that's the thing that he gets so disturbed about is when he doesn't put the right touch on the pass. He doesn't do the right things. As crazy as he may be off the field, and I don't think he is all that crazy, when he's on there, he's expecting perfection out of himself.
15 of 26 for McMahon on 2nd and 10. From behind by Jeffco. Blindside shot. McMahon is up slowly and favoring his left hand.
Well, I tell you what, when a quarterback has his back turned on the rollout particularly, if you're the backside lineman, you're expecting that ball to be gone. Now watch on the top of the screen, that's where you're going to see number 77, Jim Jeffco, coming from. That time the guard pulled out, and that allowed that inside lane for Jeffco to get in. And boy, he relays a wrap on McMahon there. And that's where Jim rolled over on that hand, and that's what he's holding right now. Nice play by Jim Jeffco.
Third down. Takes timeout. Now my feeling here is that timeout might be for the injury, not for what he was looking at defensively. Favoring his hand as he comes off. 1:49 to go, third quarter.
Now what what happened on the Jim Jeffcoat sack is the tackle, that's Wojciechowski, he pulls out. The guard, Thayer, he pulls out. And as a result, Jeffcoat comes in to make the sack on McMahon. No one blocks him. Watch it, number 77 just slides in there, works off the play, doesn't take the fakes, and he takes McMahon for a ride.
Those are costly mistakes. The way quarterbacks get hurt. And get a look at what's happened to McMahon. A series of McInjuries over his career. Boy, they haven't missed too many parts of his body. And you can now add the left hand to that list, which he just injured on the last play, or 2 plays ago now. But he's back there on 3rd down. And gets it to McKinnon to a Gentry, intended for Gentry, but he could not hold on, and it was Manny Hendricks breaking it up, number 45.
And they saw Jeffcoat giving him McMahon a pat on the head. He got to him late, but you know, Jeffcoat's one of those kind of players that comes to play hard, but yet still he's not a dirty guy. He's not going to try to break your neck if he can avoid it, but he's going to come hard and play hard. But when it's all over, hey, you know, we're just a bunch of guys out here playing hard and trying to win the football game.
He's got 4 sacks on the season, having one of the best years of his career. 6 years out of Arizona State. Butler will try it from the 32-yard line. A 42-yard field goal attempt that is wide left for Kevin Butler. So Butler now 4 of 8. Make it 5 of 9 on the season, having connected from 21 yards out earlier today. Some people couldn't care less about the National Football League.
Well, they've got a TV on board now, you know, with all these new portable electronics.
Oh, that's it. That guy couldn't get a ticket to the game.
That's it.
So he went for a sail.
Come down here for the atmosphere, you know, and stay out on the lake.
October sailing on Lake Michigan. I hope he's got a sweater on out there. It's a beautiful day here. 25-yard line. The Cowboys will start 1st and 10 from the Dallas 25 after the missed field goal attempt by Butler. White just missing Kelvin Martin. Martin complaining that he was grabbed by Richardson, and it looked like his acceleration did get slowed a little bit there, but no call.
Mike Richardson has had a good Sunday last Sunday for the Bears, and he's come back with another strong performance this week. You know, every time you turn around, the cornerbacks are getting maligned around the National Football League, but nobody's job is harder than those guys when they're out there in the corner by themselves against the best speed guys from the other team.
Him up immediately, and it's a 5-yard gain. Now, that was a great shot we had of Mike Singletary staring into the eyes of Danny White. How would you like to look at that all afternoon?
Yeah, I'm sure you know, if you're the quarterback, you're standing back there thinking, gee, I wonder if he can read my mind. That's the worst thought that runs through your mind. But you know what? Dante Jones, when he was talking to us the other day, said that he used to idolize the Cowboys. He's from Dallas. Now, here's a kid, you know, this is his home team, and now he's playing against them in the big game, and he's having a pretty good football game for a rookie outside linebacker.
We're in the final minute of the 3rd quarter. Kelvin Martin, 1st down. Fine job by Danny White. Right on the money to Martin. And a quick release for a 1st down to the 42. So the veteran Danny White, who said last week, I don't want to just mop up. I want to come in and have an opportunity to turn things around if they take Pallure out. Well, Pallure injured back in the 1st quarter, and White, however, fighting the clock because while they've been moving the ball, they have no points on the board. Bears on top, 17-0. Newsom, not much. Gun is sounded. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score: the Chicago Bears 17, the Dallas Cowboys nothing. Now pause for a word from your local station. Tim Ryan and Dan Jiggets at Soldier Field, about to begin the fourth quarter. Chicago on top 17-0. And interestingly enough, Mike Ditka's Bears went scoreless once again in the third quarter. The only team in the league not to get a point in the third quarter so far this season. Dallas, an uphill climb. White somehow got the ball off, and meanwhile Dent and who is that? Waddell, the rookie from Boston College, trying out their sparring technique. And Dent's giving his version to the officials.
And you saw Waddell was very smart for a young rookie, just walked away from the situation because he knows that Dallas can't afford to get him kicked out of the ball game. They're getting low on offensive tackles.
He has replaced Mark Tuinei. Apparently, Tuinei has hurt himself. We haven't had an official report, but he came into the game coming off a knee injury and evidently has been bothered with it. So it is third and 9. Danny White delivers on third down again. A flag is down. It'll be a Dallas first down. The ball stripped away by Jackson, but after the play was over, and Ray Alexander making a good play to hang on against Jackson.
Pass interference defense. Pass was completed and will be accepted. Pass is accepted. Penalty is declined. First down.
Well, he definitely accepted the pass. They caught it and they kept it. Ray Alexander, the interference call against Jackson, declined by the Cowboys.
And that's a game that the Cowboy fans won't soon forget, that 44-0 shellacking down in Dallas, as a matter of fact, by the Bears over the Cowboys.
First down, Cowboys. White's been able to move this team, but no points to show for it. Richard Dent came crashing in, upset everything. And Herschel Walker had nowhere to go. Hampton made the stop on the running back.
And now he's even helping the officials, telling them where to place the football. Boy, I tell you what, the thing that he really did, though, is he just came right into this play. Now, from his defensive end position, he sees that trap coming right away. Now, he just comes down and crashes down in the play. Timmy Newsome can't get out to block him, and then he tries to do that little face shot when Dent is on the ground. So you see those kind of things work back and forth. Sometimes it's the offensive guys, sometimes it's the defensive guys.
Second down and 10. So no gain. White too high, picked up. Tate. Second interception of the day for rookie David Tate. Out of Colorado, getting the start for the injured Sean Gale. White sailed it a little, and Tate was waiting for
You
him.
know, sometimes it helps to be lucky and have good players playing with you. Now, David Tate, very alert in the secondary, sees this ball tip, just grabs a hold of it and takes off and makes the nice little run. Now, you know, something interesting about Tate was both he and Mickey Pruitt played together at Colorado. Mickey's that outside linebacker for the Bears, and they were roommates in college. Now, how many times do roommates in college get to play together in the pros?
He is such an enthusiastic,
He is.
pleasant young guy. I'm very excited about starting today, and he's certainly playing well. First down. Sanders and the Cowboy front buries him. Dallas's front four has been steady again today. They certainly have not been to blame for the score as it stands now. They have been solid all season. Jeffcoat and Jones, the defensive ends, acting as bookends there and making the stop. Turnovers, deadly always in 4 losses, 13 of them. Last week, 3 interceptions suffered by Fleur against Washington, and they've been hurt today by turnovers. Loss of nearly 3 yards on that first down play. McMahon nowhere to go. And again, the Dallas front with the pressure. Brooks and Randy White wrap up McMahon.
Good pressure up front and good coverage in the secondary for Dallas. Now watch that Bear offensive line. They're going to try to set short because they know McMahon's only going to take about a 4 or 5 step drop. A little pressure there with Randy White. But now Jimmy can't find anybody downfield to throw to, so he does the best thing he can. That's get back to the line of scrimmage. the Bears ended up losing a couple of yards on that play. You see that rushing in the first half as compared to the second half. They have not put the ball in Neil Anderson's hands or Thomas Sanders' hands to any significant amount in the second half.
Bears going backwards on the first 2 downs. Man can't find a man now. It goes to Morris, and a little behind him. Ron Morris couldn't bring it in. Morris unhappy with himself, and McMahon knows that it was not a good pass.
Jim McMahon, after he threw that pass, he knew it was a little bit behind Ron Morris. As I said before, he gets real disgusted with himself when he didn't do it just right.
So the Bears will have to punt. That was a good defensive series for Dallas. They've got to do something on offense. Kelvin Martin back to receive from Wagner. Wagner, not a pretty one, but he gets good mileage on it, and a Bear bounce. Out of bounds at the 16-yard line. We'll return to Soldier Field with the Bears on top in the 4th quarter. Back at Soldier Field, the Bears on top. Steve Fuller, the Cowboy quarterback, went out early with a concussion. Ron Morris has had 3 catches for the Bears, 74 yards on the day, and a beautiful touchdown grab of 39. Tim Ryan with Dan Jiggets. And Dan, it's now looking like the Cowboys are not going to be able to really do too much effectively. The youngsters in this Bear defense are playing like veterans.
They sure are. You know, David Tate now 2 interceptions. Dante Jones has been extremely effective at the outside linebacking position. The Bears have gotten everything they could have asked for out of those young rookies.
Well, and it's not that Danny White hasn't played well since he's come in. He's really done the job moving the football, but they get down into that tough yardage territory. The Bears defense has been able to stop them, and the kids have been a part of that. White on first down, and hits again to Kelvin Martin.
And that just to reemphasize your point, Danny White has been fairly effective throwing the football. But hey, you know, when you get down in that 20-yard line area going in, you got to take the points. You've got to get points down in that area. You know, we were talking with Steve Fuller the other day about how his relationship is with Danny White. And even Paul Hacker was saying this, well, you know, Danny's kind of a leader, and he's a guy that everyone looks up to and respects a great deal. And he tends to help Steve Fuller. And that's something that kind of surprised you because you figured maybe, you know, he'd want to take the job for himself.
White on first down to Walker, who bashes off a blocker of his own and picks up about 3. Richard Dent, I think he ran into one of his own blockers on the play, Tom Rafferty.
Boy, I tell you what, I tell you who got a nice block on that play, though, was Crawford Kerr. Nice pull trap block on the play. And then you see Kevin Sweeney, I believe that is, sending in the plays. Now, he's the fiery quarterback in the Dallas Cowboys. He's the guy with all the anxiousness, and I can't wait to play in him.
Well, they played well on their strike team a year ago and impressed them enough to the Cowboys keep them. They've got 4 quarterbacks. All of them are dressed today. White, Kelvin Martin, first down yardage. A flag on the play back near the line of scrimmage.
And I believe it's going to involve Richard Dent again.
Richard Dent in a battle with the rookie Dave Waddell out of Boston College, the number 4 pick this year by Dallas.
Number 95, defense is declined. First down.
And evidently a no-no with the use of his hands against Waddell on the last play.
Yeah, I'm sure what Richard is doing up there is trying to get Waddell the, you know, that seminar very quickly on how to use your hands in the NFL. Tom Landry says, hey, look, we'll take the yardage on the play. Thank you very much.
Cowboys with Darrell Smith out with a rib injury. Tuanay just coming back off a knee, and now down to the rookie. And look at the numbers here. In the second half, big improvement for the Cowboys, but nothing on the scoreboard. White just gets it away. He's got a man wide open, Walker. And Walker breaks loose from the Bears. Finally, Richardson drags him down. He ran through David Tate. Tate was not hoping to have to try and stop Walker one-on-one. He acknowledged that. Said, I expect some help if that guy's loose in the open field.
Well, you know what Danny White is doing now is, as we said earlier, when he comes into the game, he works that short passing game very well and gets that football out to his back. So there's a flag down on the play, and we'll get that call for you as soon as Jim Tunney delivers it.
Holding, 83, penalized for small foul, 10 yards.
Well, that was Kelvin Martin, evidently, and he was blocking out there for Walker after he caught the ball. And Martin...
How can a guy hold?
Illegal block.
He's got one hand in the cast. How can he hold anybody?
And he's not the biggest guy out there either at 5'9", 160.
Yeah, give him a break. Here he is now. He's blocking Vesty Jackson there, and he's doing a pretty good job. He's doing that little rooster thing where you just get in between the defensive man and your running back. Herschel does the rest of it. He runs away from David Tate, and he gives Mike Richardson a nice little ride for about 5 yards.
Yet another copy clutch down there by the men in the striped shirts.
They're going all right. Who brought the donuts?
That roar from the crowd you heard was the Green Bay score over Minnesota that we've been keeping track of for you. 24-7 in the fourth quarter. Of course, the Vikings in second place behind Chicago at 4-2 in the NFC Central. And the fans here want to see Green Bay win that one. Scrambling around, nearly slipped to the turf, but gets it off to the tight end Chandler. The third-year man from Alabama picks up some yardage out near midfield. It'll leave third down and about 4. Tate and Rivera at the tackle on the big guy. That Chandler, the tight end of the future for Dallas, 6'5", 240-pounder. Following in the size of Cosby. 19-3, Cleveland over Philadelphia in the fourth quarter. The Eagles, they look so great on Monday night, struggling against the Browns, still without their starting quarterback. Second down, about 5, and nowhere to go for Everett Gay. Check to Timmy Newsom, number 30. Timmy Newsom surrounded by 2 or 3 Bears just as the ball arrived. Douglas and Richardson were there.
I tell you that when you start looking at what the Bears have done to Dallas effectively on the defensive side of things, you start looking at the defensive coordinators, and that one is Vince Tobin. Vince Tobin, I think, has done an exceptional job here with the Chicago Bears. He wouldn't give him credit for it early on. You know, he said he told us the other day, he says, hey, look, I'm not going to make any apologies for having the #1 defense for a couple of years running. Everybody's saying, gee, it's too bad Buddy Ryan left. Well, he's done a good job with this defense, even with injuries.
Well, excellent. When you consider the number of youngsters he's got out here. White. First down pass to Everett Gay inside the Bear 40. And White gets up limping. Valora with a concussion, and White gets up limping. They've got 2 more quarterbacks in uniform today. Kevin Sweeney, Scott Sekiels.
Steve McMichael is the guy, number 76, and he's going to get rolled right into Danny White's leg, and he gets right on that ankle there, and you say, gee, maybe he could have held up a little bit on that one, because Danny just got the ankle. The ball was already delivered, and Steve rolls up on him. But then again, he had to stop hitting that quarterback all day. He's been on there for 3 sacks.
Danny White. First down at the Bear 38-yard line. Herschel Walker. Walker for about 3. Gang tackled at the 35-yard line of Chicago. Singletary in the middle of it, as he has been much of the day. Houston beating up on Pittsburgh. Green Bay at 10-point margin over Minnesota. Wilson apparently the Viking quarterback today, if you've been wondering. Walker is up to 66 yards rushing, 19 carries. Dante Jones comes limping off from the Bear defense, replaced by rookie Mickey Pruitt. Vesty Jackson forced him out there. Cowboys rolling again.
Now here, Herschel Walker's going to head out on the left side of his offense. Gets the handoff here. Now he breaks into the daylight. Just heads out on that outside. And again, as we said earlier, when he gets those shoulders squared up the field, you're in trouble. You know, one of the things that he told us the other day that was kind of interesting is he said, hey, from the time I was a little youngster, I've been programmed to win. He says, I feel like I'm a computer. And I'm just programmed. I got the software that says win. And that's what he tries to do every time out.
20 carries on the day. Crowd getting into it here. Walker for another 5. And Hampton and Waddell get up pushing and shoving.
Well, I'll tell you about into this game, Waddell's going to have gone at least 4 or 5 rounds.
He's taken on some serious heavyweights in Denton and Hampton.
Well, to a certain extent, you got to show everyone that you're not afraid. If they know you're a rookie coming in the game, the first thing they're going to do is test you out a little bit, find out what your oil is made of, and then once they find out, they leave you alone. You see Singletary getting the signals from the sideline.
And you saw Kevin Sweeney signaling him to play for Dallas. Sweeney put the helmet on, we noticed there, hoping he'd get in when he saw White get up limping, but Danny White, playing well, is still there. That one incomplete behind Kelvin Martin. Apparently a mix-up on that route. It'll bring up 3rd down, and this has been the Dallas problem area. They're in that so-called red zone inside the 20 of the opponent, and now they have a 3rd down where they've simply got to make something happen. 12th play of this drive, Dan. They're moving it. You can see 71 yards. The Bears -3.
But the points, Dallas needs the points. That's what we talked about early on in this game. You get down here, you've got to put it in and get some points out of it. The yardage doesn't do you any good.
Overthrown. Ray Alexander, the intended receiver. He was open in the end zone deep. White couldn't get it to him. Ray Alexander, a second-year man from Florida A&M, came out of the Canadian Football League. And again, the injuries to the wide receivers at Dallas have not given the quarterbacks, particularly Pallur, the opportunity to work with him and create that timing and rhythm. Injuries to Michael Irvin and Calvin Edwards, the 2 starters. And closely lost Sherrard last year with a broken leg. Hosby's been hurt. It's been a problem. 4th down. Wide open. Touchdown. Everett Gay. Lemuel Stinson fell down. The rookie number 32. And left Everett Gay alone in the end zone.
Watch on the left side of your screen for number 32. That's Lemuel Stinson. Slips down at about the 2-yard line, and he's trying to get into coverage. They didn't see him. He's on the 5-yard line. It simply leaves the receiver wide open for the touchdown. When you play on that kind of turf, when you know it's loose down there, you got to wear some better cleats to stand up in there and make sure that you don't give up the score.
I think Gay might have had him beat anyway, but finally Dallas gets some points on the scoreboard. Roger Luzick for the point after. And Dallas with 5:07 remaining to play. Regulation time has reduced the margin to 10. Chicago 17. The Cowboys 7.
83 yards.
Doubleheader day on CBS here in Chicago. The Cowboys have finally scored. 5:07 remaining in the 4th quarter. They went 83 yards in 13 plays. Danny White hitting Everett Gay wide open in the end zone. And the word on Dante Jones, he twisted his ankle. Has played well in this game. His first start, and starting out of position for him at outside linebacker. Doesn't look like he will be back. Replaced by Mickey Pruitt, who had been starting the last couple of weeks after Jim Morrissey went down. And of course, Morrissey has been replacing Otis Wilson. So injuries continue to plague Chicago. Gentry on the return of Luzick's kickoff to the 22, maybe 23-yard line. Well, we mentioned doubleheader day here on CBS, and 2 huge ones. The 49ers at the Rams. The Los Angeles Rams playing so well this year. New Orleans, team a lot of people think might go the distance against Seattle, one of the top teams in the AFC. And Atlanta will be at Denver as John Elway continues to try to get on track. And Atlanta struggling from the onset of the season and then having to deal with the tragedy of David Kudik's death a week ago. First down for the Bears at their own 22-yard line. Fingertips of Suey and then promptly buried by Macon Muster, number 25, and promptly buried by Gene Lockhart. Eugene Lockhart putting the hit on McMahon just as he released the ball. No pity, it says on his shoes, on his pads, and he had none for McMahon there. Cleveland over Philadelphia, 19-3. How about that, Dan?
Boy, I tell you what, that's a big surprise to everyone that saw the Philadelphia play on Monday night. They looked invincible on Monday night.
Eagles fall to 3-4, and Cleveland moves to 4-3. Well, it is 17-7, the Bears over Dallas, 4:52 to play. On the catch from McMahon, stopped by Ron Burton, and it'll leave third down and about 2 for Chicago out at their own 30-yard line. And you can see the difference here in the second half. And finally, for Cowboys and their fans, it produced 7 points on the board.
Well, Dallas has been effective moving that football, but Danny White, who we were just told has a sprained knee and will not return to the football game. So indeed, that may be the final chance to get those long, extensive drives and use up the clock.
4 wide receivers in for the Bears on 3rd and 3. And up to Gentry, and Gentry will be close to the first down. Nice tackle on the play by Ron Francis. But it looks like he has the first down yardage. He does. So Danny White, the second Cowboy quarterback knocked out of the game. 24 of 35, 242 yards, and a touchdown, 2 interceptions. And a disappointed Danny White, who obviously wanted a chance to prove that he can still be the number 1, although I'm sure he has faced up to the fact that Ballure is going to be the man for the Cowboys for the future. Thornton, the tight end, off the wing in motion. Oh, a big defensive play. Garth Jacks, the linebacker, number 53, came pouring in there and hit Muster as soon as he got the ball.
They had to have man-on-man coverage with Brad Muster. Now watch on the left side of your screen, number 53. Garth Jacks is just going to read this pass, play action all the way. It's kind of a screen out there because you see Neil Anderson trying to throw a block, but Garth Jacks is in there on Brad Muster like sweat. 45 minutes.
Jacks in the spot normally held by Gary Cobb. You know, when they got into their linebacker injury problem, Jeff Rohr, Hagman, and Jacks got the start for a little bit, but they went out and got Gary Cobb, gave him the job. So you can know that Jacks is trying hard to impress with this opportunity. Second down, 17. Man with time, tried to drill it into Ron Morris, but he was too well covered by Everson Walls. No Bears open on the play.
You know, one of the things that I kind of picked up in watching these Bears along, what you'll see between McMahon and Hilgenberg is Hilgenberg will forget the snap count sometimes. You'll see him put his arm behind his back, so McMahon is the only guy that can see it, and he's checking with him. He's either got 1 finger up or 2 fingers up, trying to get the snap count right. And that's between the time McMahon called that and the play in the huddle, and they are going to the line of scrimmage. Let's see if he gets it this time. Oh, he remembered it this time. He might check when he gets down there, though.
On 3rd down, and it's McKinnon, and he fights for the first down. Dennis McKinnon. McMahon picking him out, and McKinnon, when he caught the ball, he knew he had to get a first down. And again, showing his strength and his tenacity, he just dove forward to get to the marker. Francis and Bates on the hit.
The thing you like about Dennis McKinnon is he's one of those receivers that you know he's going to go across the middle of the field for you, where he knows that strong safety is going to come up and try to knock him out, and he still catches the football. Great deal of concentration, and I think another result of that is he's excellent on special teams when those punts are coming down and 5 guys are trying to take his head off.
Only a 185-pounder. You know, he was upset by the article in Sports Illustrated after the Buffalo game that kind of painted him as a bad guy in his block of Shane Conlon, and he said, you know, it was a legal block. There was no penalty called, and, you know, I'm doing what's within the confines of the rules, but he has a reputation as being an overly aggressive wide receiver, and you know, you've got to kind of take his side of things and say, I'm playing the game hard. That's the way I've been coached to play, and that's what's expected of me, and not just because not every other wide receiver goes around banging people like I do, why should I take the heat?
That's right. You know, hey, look, most coaches would love to get that out of their wide receivers. Let's be honest about it. They want to find somebody that can run down and catch the football and then block as well.
So we have 2:05 remaining regulation time, and the Bears with the football and a first down and a 10-point margin. The Cowboys have got to make something happen right now. McMahon intended for the tight end Thornton. Bates was all over him, and Thornton went down, but no call. That gets us to the 2-minute warning here at Soldier Field, and we'll return with Chicago on top, 17-7. A pretty day here in Chicago after a rainy, rotten morning. 17-7, Chicago on top of Dallas. 2 minutes to play, regulation time here at Soldier Field. Tim Ryan with Dan Jiggets, and Dallas with 2 timeouts remaining. The Bears have all of theirs, and they have a 2nd and 10 and the football at their own 45. McMahon is 20 of 36, 243 yards and a touchdown. Chicago has rushed for only 6 yards in the second half. Moorhead, first down, Dallas, 36. Bates on the tackle.
You know, a fan watching the game might ask, why is Chicago throwing the football at this point in time in the game? We'll get back to that in a minute.
I want to hear your answer when we return in just a moment. Dan Jiggets, I know you have 2 good reasons why the Bears are throwing the ball right now.
Well, the first one is, of course, they're only 10 points up in the game with, you know, over a minute remaining. The other thing is that they have rushed the ball 7 times in the last 2 quarters and only have 6 yards to show for it. So there's 2 reasons wrong.
2 good ones. First down, Bears. And they'll throw again. Little sideliner, incomplete for Thornton. Couldn't hold on. Was looking at about a 3 or 4 yard gain at most with Garth Jacks on his tail, number 53. It'll be 2nd and 10. 1:41 remaining. A lot of funny things happen late in ball games, and you
don't take any chances with it. That's what you take the wins, and if you have to throw the football in order to win the game, that's what you do. And you take care of the feelings afterwards.
2nd and 10, and that Dallas front has been solid all day long, and they've been particularly tough in the second half against the run. Sanders. He's got some room, but again, a good play. This time the cornerback, Everson Walls, with an ankle tackle holding Sanders to about a 3-yard pickup.
Everson Walls, my old buddy. We used to go to a camp up in New England together, up in Minnesota, and work with inner city kids up in the Minneapolis area together, and we had a great time doing it with Matt Blair from the Vikings, and he is an extraordinary individual, and particularly working with young people.
Yeah, he's a likable guy and a talented player. Well, we've got lots more after a doubleheader action ahead for you on CBS tonight. 60 minutes. And if we sometime look like a wholly owned subsidiary of Japan, is it because our best negotiators are for sale to the other side? Check that out. See if the answer comes on 60 Minutes tonight on CBS. Following 60 Minutes, Murder, She Wrote, and then the CBS special movie, Part 1 of Out of Africa. The Academy Award-winning epic starring Meryl Streep and Robert Redford. Part 2 is on Monday. I've seen that movie, I think, 6 times, Dan.
Well, how many times
planning on watching it again?
How many times have you been to Africa, though? You go over there every year on a safari, is that
yes,
right?
I do, and I do have a special interest in it for that reason.
Hey, can you take me along the next time? You got to take care of a flight and all that?
Sure, yeah, you can come along. Got to crawl around in the bush, watch out for the lions and elephants, though.
They have to look out for me.
That's a wonderful movie tonight. Don't miss it, folks. Out of Africa. 3rd down. Fullback from Stanford on the receiving end of a little more razzle-dazzle action from the Bears on that pass play.
Yeah, and they get down in this area here. They figure they're going to open a trick bag on the Dallas Cowboys, and that one worked this time. It's to Brad Mustard, but he got a nice key block from Jim Thornton downfield, and Thornton turned back, peeled back on the linebacker that was chasing him and took him out of the play. Call Jim Thornton RoboCop. Boy, does he look like the guy, too. And the only thing he needs is a little armor on the outside.
There's with a first down. The clock down to 1:20. Sanders gets about 3, and flags fly down there near the 5-yard line of Dallas. Well, a Bears victory, which now seems apparent, will send them to 6-1 atop the NFC Central. Last report from Minnesota had Green Bay leading that game.
79 offense, 10 yards, it's still first down.
Holding call against the Bears will back him up. Kurt Becker charged with it, and Green Bay leading 34-14. So the Bears pick up a full game on Minnesota. They move to 6-1. Vikings will fall to 4-3. And Green Bay will pick up their second victory of the season and second in a row. Bears back out at the Dallas 21. Muster ran into his own man Sanders, but now has some room and runs over the cornerback Williams to the 10-yard line. Well, let's go to our NFL Update studio in New York. Brent Musburger.
All right, Tim, and then there were none. The last unbeaten falls today. Cincinnati loses at the hands of the New England Patriots, and now the Bears will be tied for having the best record in the league at 6-1. Back to Tim.
Well, I don't think the Bengals themselves believe they go unbeaten, but they might be surprised to lose to struggling New England. Patriots move up to 3-4. Bengals are 6-1.
Well, you know, the purchase of that team, I think maybe the Patriots have been picked up a little bit emotionally. They got a new owner in Victor Cunningham.
Sanders struggles back to the 5-yard line. Garth Jacks on the tackle. It'll leave 3rd and about 3 as time winds down here. And this Dallas loss will be their worst start since 1965 for the Dallas Cowboys. Landry wanted this game badly because naturally he was not about to concede anything in the NFC East. He thought if they could win here, they'd be back in the thick of it in that logjam in the NFC East. But it is now over, and he congratulates his protege Mike Ditka. So for Dan Jiggets, this is Tim Ryan saying so long from Soldier Field, where the final score, the Chicago Bears 17, the Dallas Cowboys 7. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after these words from your local station.